Could you first off just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you came on the Quality of Mind program?
Sure. So I'm a technology change consultant, which basically means I help senior technology leaders define and implement their vision for their organizations. This typically involves working with lots of very senior people, very divergent points of views, different visions for what the organization should be doing. So my job involves a lot of management of conflict, getting everybody moving in the right direction, or typically the same direction, and continuing to deliver, so continuing to add value in what we're doing. So I reached a point in my career and performance where there were a lot of people who felt I had potential, but there was something missing, right? So I was introduced to you as part of the coaching program that we have here. And one of the first things that we tried to do was try to understand what are the themes within the feedback, right? And we could not find any concrete themes that I could work on. And at that point, as you would recall, I was very stressed out. And and some of that stress was probably leading to the poor performance as well. And we both agreed that the Quality of Mind program might be a good way for me to accelerate my progress along this path.
Great. And tell us then what you liked about the program.
So there were a couple of so there are two themes actually. One is the format and the way the program is run, and the other is what the objective of the program is. Right. So in terms of format and structure and how it's run, it's a small group. So there is a lot of individual focus. Right. You've built great relationships with the group that you're participating with. I'm personally in touch with quite a few people, even after it's almost a year and a half now since I've been on the program. It's also very interactive. The agenda is fluid. So those things make it very easy for people to absorb the content. It's in a place where there is literally non-existent Wi-Fi and cell phone signal. So that's great. Getting away from all the pings and the notifications for 3 days was absolutely brilliant. But in terms of what it tries to achieve is very simple, and that's, I think, the strength. Because the focus is on realizing a simple idea that enables a fundamental shift in mindset, right? So it's about taking people from wherever they are to a point where they realize a simple idea, and that leads to a shift in mindset, right? So that's very powerful for me. The pure focus on a very simple idea.
Great. And in what ways then has it shifted your thinking, your mindset?
I think the best way to summarize it is to say that stop taking myself too seriously and my issues too seriously, which has helped me sort of cut out almost all the stress in my life. So that's great. And the other thing I feel I've gained is I always was very good at using the thinking part of my mind, right? So analytically thinking about a problem, coming up with the logical solution. But there were two other parts of the mind, which is, the feeling part and the knowing part that I was completely unaware of, right? And I think by being on the program and the work that you and I have done afterwards, I've started to appreciate the use of the feeling part and the knowing part, right? So, and that has helped me grow quite a lot.
And tell me about how you find yourself using the feeling part and the knowing part. What benefit does it give you, and how do you use it?
So it sort of helps me break deadlocks in creative ways, right? So that's one tangible benefit. But the underlying theme over there is that it helps me be quite creative. So whether we need to keep making progress, there are lots of blockers. there's a deadlock and we can't get people to agree, or we need to come up with a new way of doing things, right? The solution to all of this fundamentally is just creativity, right? And sometimes when you look at the problem purely logically, you don't come up with enough number of ideas that you can experiment with, right? So it's almost like, I have a lot more creativity now than I used to have earlier. And the other main thing that I've sort of started perceiving in myself is that I'm far more empathetic towards people. And people have noticed that. That's true for both work life and personal life. So that's great. And it was one of the big themes that I had to work on earlier.
Really great. Really great. Thank you. So what advice would you give someone then who was thinking about attending?
So I'd say definitely read chapters 1 to 6 of Invisible Power. Definitely.
Yeah.
And sort of, think about how you are going to reach beyond just an analytical way of getting it, right? Because that's what we are coached to do from the time we go to school, right? Analytically understanding the material that is presented to us. But at some point, the content here is so different that you have to reach beyond the analytical and engage the feeling and the knowing part of your experience. So reflecting on that maybe a little bit can lead to a better experience. Recollecting that while you're at the retreat might help, sort of getting beyond the, getting stuck with the analytical. This doesn't make sense. I don't get it, or I get it, but I don't see how it can help. So those are the two things I would say.
Thanks very much, Vish.